And so there's a way in which mashing up songwriting and poetry is kind of returning to its earliest roots in European culture, at least. And that's what I study. And so I have been particularly drawn to that, and having students think about many of the things that poetic production and songwriting today share. Right. So I would never say they're absolutely identical, but they have a long and rich history together that is kind of re-energized and made really interesting by Taylor Swift, thinking about poetics and poetry as she's writing songs now. And I think she would say that if her she might say her works are poetry. And if but I also think the music is so important, kind of poetry plus, but there is certainly something poetical about the way that she writes. And that is somewhat different from every other song that might also, have rhyme and meter and right, and much more of the, I think, regular rhythms that we kind of associate with poetry that maybe the most modern and contemporary poetry actually doesn't even use. Right, their poetry is often free form, doesn't have rhyme, doesn't have regular meter. Unless it's read out loud by them, you don't recognize it as poetry by ear in the same way that a song with a chorus and a lot of heavy repetition in it from verse to verse, I think people kind of recognize as poetry. I am at the point of my semester with my students where we have just finished reading Mad Woman and Tolerate It, right? So I am in the Sylvia Plath moment of my course. And it seems like this album particularly is giving me some serious, similarly to Sylvia Plath vibes. And so the one of the things that I would say, and this might not feel like poetic analysis, but certainly is literary analysis, right? Is that there is a dissonance between the way Fortnite sounds, the kind of like, like I would say rhythmic vibe of that song. It's not really like kind of a bop, right? But it is in complete tension with the words that she's saying when she's the music is almost soothing and smooth, and the words are about my mornings are Mondays stuck in an endless February, which I think is like the most poetic line in that song, and it kind of encapsulates the boredom with the ordinary, and then she unleashes the kind of tension and anger in the ordinary in those verses.